It's just gone 8:34 a.m. and we've learned about the ceasefire between the apartheid state of Israel and Hamas. But this does not mean the end of Israeli occupation and brutality. We know Gaza will still be besieged and other areas of Palestine will still remain occupied. The oppression will continue and the campaign for a free Palestine must still continue. And this includes boycott of Israel products and those of Israeli supporters. And this is the reason why we are talking this morning with PSC Durban member Jihaan Haffajee, because we have learned about Durban dock workers today who refuse to offload an Israeli ship. Jihaan, assalamu alaikum and welcome.
Wa alaikum salam, Inayat.
Yes,
Thank
wonderful.
you very much.
Yes, I know. Obviously, everyone, we've seen a bit of celebration taking place out in Gaza. We've seen what is taking place in Al-Aqsa this morning. But at the end of the day, the campaign for a free Palestine must continue because this is not the end. And today is significant in Durban with the dock workers refusing to offload this Israeli ship.
Yes, that is very true, Inayat. Well, this is a very welcome development, the ceasefire. We know too well that in the past, it is only a matter of time before Israel continues with its expansion of its settlements on Palestinian land and continues to deny the Palestinian people their human rights. And it's for this reason that we are holding this protest today, amongst others that will be planned in the future.
Yes. Now, obviously, we've seen what is going to take place at the Durban harbor, and we've learned about this Israeli state-owned company, Zim Lines, and that ship docked in Durban on the 19th of May, 2021. Now, obviously, this is part of a global set of actions against Zim Lines.
Yes, that is very true. This forms part of a broader international boycott by as many of the port worker unions that we have across the globe. And this includes countries like the US, Turkey, Argentina, Brazil, and I think more recently we've seen in Italy as well, where they refuse to offload the cargo or the military cargo being carried by an Israeli ship. So the Zim Line ship is here currently in the harbor, and we have engaged with our local unions to refuse to offload the cargo from the ship.
Yes. Now, obviously, this actually means a lot for solidarity with the people of Palestine. And I'm just looking at the trade union federations, the unions, and other organizations. And there's a whole host of these organizations. And if there is one message that has come out of the recent aggression by this Zionist state, is this has backfired heavily because it has actually increased awareness firstly, but also in terms of support, in terms of solidarity with the people of Palestine. And we've seen the global reaction to this, Jihaan.
Yes, that is the case. We've also seen a very strong global support. I think many people are realizing that there's very often a failure of the UN resolutions to be enforced because it tends to fall on the deaf ears in Israel. And at the same time, Israel is not being held to account for its human rights abuses and its Palestinians. So we have realized, through this action, that it is actually up to the ordinary people around the world to stand together for justice for the Palestinian people. And so we know that this boycott is just one of many actions around the world, in this case involving unions, but there will obviously be many other forms of boycott of Israeli products, Israeli cargo, etc. And all this will work together to grow and strengthen support for the Palestinian cause.
Yes, and also, Jihaan, I think the key issue here is, this doesn't end with the ceasefire, and we need to obviously look at this strategically in terms of going forward, because the soda water effect, the hype is created, the awareness is there. We've seen many people come on board, and it's also encouraging to note. And when I look at it, the number of young people in South Africa, we see their presence on social media identifying with the Palestinian cause. And herein lies the opportunities, is to make sure that this becomes a sustained campaign throughout, irrespective of whether there is aggression being carried out or not.
That is very true, and that's absolutely the case. And we're finding that, as more people come on board, not just Muslim South Africans, but people of all, backgrounds and walks of life, realizing that this is actually an issue of humanity, and it is not merely, an issue of religion, as is being, as we are being led to believe by the Israeli government. So many people are joining us, and support is just growing by the day. Yeah.
Well, certainly, Jihaan, because I think, this was a message. I hosted a program on Wednesday evening, and this was a message that came out very, very loud and clear. And this is something that, with regards to humanity, and this is a humanitarian campaign, because, the thing is, the message that came quite strong is what is happening in Palestine is indicative of what is taking place around the world in terms of injustice. And Palestine is ideal because this is a nation for well over 70 years that have suffered in each and every way. And we cannot hide away from the fact that what the Palestinians are going through is taking place in other parts around the world. So, a success in Palestine will mean success for the rest of the world.
That is indeed the case, Inayat. There's a statement that many of us here in South Africa often refer to when we think of our struggle and we think of the struggle of the Palestinians, and that is that our beloved ex-president Nelson Mandela, when he said, South Africa will not be free until Palestine is free. And at one point, our ex-president who fought for the human rights of our South African people, he was also branded a terrorist. Just as Hamas, who is fighting for the rights of its Palestinian people, is being branded terrorist. But we know that in actual fact, it is a fight for freedom and for human rights for Palestinians. And then hopefully this message will spread throughout the world and translate into sustained support for people suffering the same sort of abuses around the world.
Right. Now, let's just talk about this protest. And we were led to believe by the communication that the protest would have taken place at 7 a.m. this morning. Any update, any feedback?
We have a number of unions present here at the port, in addition to various solidarity organizations. And we are all able to see the Zim line ship. And we are monitoring events, although we were hoping to ensure that the current ship would not have its cargo unloaded. We have, this had come at a very last minute. We had very little time to prepare for it. However, working together with the unions present here at the port and in all our ports in South Africa, including Richards Bay and Cape Town, we hope to strengthen our ties with our local unions so that we can enforce the boycott for any future Israeli ships arriving in our port.
Well, Jihaan, Jazakallah khairan for that. Shukran for your time with us this morning here on Assalam Media on News and Views. All the best to you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much.
My Lord, show me right.